Well, let me be real here with you fellas. Like, yo, look, all right, I wasn't expecting to make a second video, but I saw an article on Twitter that's just, fuck, man, it's well worth it. This is better than the first article I found. So, like, I had to bring this to you. Like, there was no fucking choice. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, this is the week the CEOs got smacked. And let me be real. This is motherfuckers getting woke and going broke and getting fucking bagged and sent on their damn way. All right. So one wanted to elevate the world's consciousness. Another aspired to make a bigger difference around the world. A third, speaking of climate change, said we owe it to our children to find the right answers. This soaring rhetoric did not emanate from motivational speakers or religious leaders. It was uttered by wealthy chief executives hoping to curry favor with a public desperate to be inspired. Ultimately, their idealism counted for little. Over the past week, 3 men behind these lofty sentiments discovered that high-mindedness didn't protect them from the harsh realities of running a business. Get woke, go broke, nigga. This is how this operates. Adam Newman stepped down as chief executive of WeWork after a botched attempt to take the company public. Devin Wenig left his chief role as eBay after the company's board grew impatient with poor performance. And Herbert Diess, the chief executive of Volkswagen, was charged with stock manipulation and misleading investors. Mr. Diaz remains in his job, but all week smartphone push alerts seem to be pinging with the news of executives' heads rolling. Those 3 executives joined the recently departed chiefs of Juul, Nissan, Comscore, and HSBC as a reminder that at the end of the trading day, the corporate chieftains are there to make shareholders money. Get woke, go broke, my niggas. Yo, this seemingly rudimentary premise that chief executives are responsible for delivering strong financial returns has been easy to overlook in recent years. As the business world is engaged more in social and political debates, some CEOs have come to believe that it is no longer enough to simply run a profit and loss statement. Instead, they are trying to inspire employees, combat climate change, and take stands on moral issues too. Get woke, go broke. We're in a world where leaders need to improve the state of the world, not just the state of the bottom line. Mark Benioff, the chief executive of Salesforce, said in the interview. Every CEO has this on their mind right now. Mr. Benioff was at the vanguard of this shift. In 2015, Salesforce was among the most vocal of the companies, protesting a proposed Indiana law that he and other opponents said would permit discrimination against gay people. Since then, brands have begun taking stands more often. Soon after President Trump took office, Google, Microsoft, and others protested his immigration policies. Right, yeah, because, like, it would lead to, higher wages for workers if you kick these, illegals the hell out. That summer, a group of chief executives who had agreed to advise the president disbanded their councils after Mr. Trump blamed many sides for the white supremacist violence in Charlottesville, Virginia. Jesus Christ, get woke, go broke, motherfuckers. Last month, the Business Roundtable, a group of influential chief executives, sought to redefine the role of business in society. Oh man, y'all are really trying hard. But guess what? Cancel culture is going to come for you too. And after a series of mass units, Walmart stepped in the national gun debate by limiting ammunition sales and calling on Congress to increase background checks. There we go. Companies said, and by extension, their management teams and their CEOs have a moral obligation to try to be a force for good. Dan Schulman, the chief executive of PayPal, recently said, I don't think there's any way that we can shirk that responsibility, and I don't think there's any way to fully stand away from culture wars around us. Yo, you're going to get woke and go broke. There's a catch-up course. Before CEOs can change the world, they need to satisfy investors. You have to deliver performance in your business, Mr. Benioff said. That's table stakes. Yo, that's been easier to do as of late, with the stock markets up sharply in recent years and venture capital flowing freely. Some companies with mediocre or even dismal performance have been able to get by with little more than a good narrative. But today, as the stock market wobbles and steeply valued startups face discerning public investors for the first time, not every company with an inspirational story is standing up to scrutiny. Oh, this is beautiful. All these IPOs of these bullshit tech companies that haven't made a fucking dime, all right, and keep asking for more money and then end up going bankrupt. You motherfuckers are finally learning the situation. But today, as the stock market, Mr. Newman found out swiftly that when WeWork IPO discussions with investors indicated the company might be valued at just $15 billion, a staggering erasure of value since January, when the co-working venture was then said to be worth $47 billion. WeWork, known formerly as the We Companies, became something of a laughingstock in investing circles after issuing a prospectus that began, "We dedicate this to the energy of we, greater than any one of us, but inside of all of us." You stupid fucking Californians. People's radar for yoga babble is on high alert right now, said Scott Galloway, a marketing professor at New York University. Yo, Cali home, we is coming for you. And what is yoga babble? Anything a communist Californian said is pretty much fucking yoga babble. Let's be real. It's as if my yoga instructor went into investor relations, Mr. Galloway said. Focus on the mission, not the $196 million loss. Another company that's testing the public's market appetite for aspirational rhetoric and non-existent profits is Peloton, which makes an internet-connected exercise bike and other gear. Peloton itself is an innovation company transforming the lives of people around the world. The hope is that investors will focus more on the mission statement and less on the fact that it lost $196 million in the last full year. So far, it's not working. It's like, oh, who bought into this shit? Like, yo, who? Like, yo, what? When did Wall Street get woke? Like, yo, oh my God. Like, yo, y'all allowed this nonsense, and I'm glad you're cleaning up your fucking mess. Shit. Yo, so far it's not working. Right? Peloton started trading on Thursday and promptly fell 11%. Wall Street, it seems, is becoming less susceptible to tech industry's reality distortion field. Yeah, this is the second tech bubble. I've been saying this, but like y'all don't listen, right? Peloton is talking about delivering happiness and connecting people. Mr. Galloway said, "No, you sell exercise equipment." Yo, I love it. I fucking love it. But Peloton is hardly alone. Many of the most prominent technology companies today positions themselves not so much as best-in-class operators in their category, but as virtual revolutions unto themselves. like, you know, like, man, listen, legit. If I had I really do wish I had a proper like thing to make videos the way I really want to do it. Like, I want to be able to like just like watch this and then add in a clip immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, be able to pause this for a second and then like come back. You know, like, because I can do that, but you know, it requires so much nonsense, like, to make the fucking video. I don't want to fucking do that shit right now. You know what I mean? I don't feel like spending 3 hours making a video. Dropbox, an online storage company, says its mission is to unleash the world's creative energy by designing a more enlightened way of working. Get woke, go broke. Lyft, the ride-sharing app, says it aims to improve people's lives with the world's best transportation. Uber claims to ignite opportunity by setting the world in motion. These fucking pyramid schemes. Spotify says it aims to unlock potential of human creativity. Not to be outdone, Snap says that its social media app will improve the way people live and communicate. Oh, you're a way for thoughts to find dudes who are going to give them money to be thoughts. Shut up. It's going public over the last 2 years. The stock in all 5 of these companies has plummeted. No shit. Like, yo, because they have terrible business models that don't work. Companies need a mission statement that is concrete enough to describe what they will do as well as what they won't do, said Brad Smith, Microsoft's president chief legal officer. If you promise too much, you risk having something that's meaningless. They're not promising anything at all. They're like, we're going to change the world. How? Profit. underwear. Profit. Oh, man. The fact that utopia mission statements are now so commonplace stems at least in part from the fact that the company founders are lionized no matter their antics. Yeah. It's because they're from California. A generation ago, many founders were regarded as brilliant, if crazy savants. Product geniuses who weren't to be trusted with operating a real company. The prevailing wisdom was that once a company was mature or went public, a seasoned executive should be brought to run the show. Yeah, stupid. You don't keep leaving it in the fucking crazy geniuses' hands. Nikola Tesla wanted to give shit away for free. No, and then he went and married a pigeon. Stop. You should not be in charge of the company. I don't want the dude signing the checks to be the same dude who's married to a pigeon. Right? That changed after the success of companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, all of which had founders not only managed to turn their creation into world-eating behemoths. Now tech companies' founders are practically untouchable. Founders are now assigned this Christ-like association. Mr. Galloway added that this is not just a question of perception. Tech founders often possess powerful voting rights to secure their control of the companies. They're given way too much rope to hang themselves and everyone around them. Witness, Uber, Theranos, and WeWork. Their charismatic founders raised billions of dollars and won over A-list investors before crumbling under their pressure. This is great. Get woke, go broke, bitch. Get woke, go broke. This shouldn't have been hard to predict, though several big tech companies have been similarly idealistic. Think Google, don't be evil, and Facebook, make the world more open and connected. They were also wildly profitable. Look, let's put it this way. Facebook does not turn profits, all right? Facebook has assets that you call profits, and you just keep selling stock, which is, me personally, if that's a dumb fucking financial model. It's not sustainable long term. They're not making any actual fucking money. When on the other hand, aspirational rhetoric is paired with middling financial performance, there is rarely a happy ending. The online marketplace Etsy went on public in 2015, a quirky company from the outset. Etsy is helmed by Chad Dickerson, a beloved leader who prioritizes generous employee benefits and earned the company B Corp status, signifying a high level of social and environmental responsibility. I thought a lot about it. What in addition to building shareholder value, a company can contribute to the world. He didn't have long to ruminate on such matters. Once Etsy was public, its stock started to fall. Soon private equity firms were circling and activist investors were agitating for change. The Etsy board, which has been supportive of Mr. Dickinson's agenda until then, reversed course and he was unceremoniously fired. Get woke, go broke, bitch. Oh, it's great. It's not Milton Friedman 1970s shareholder value world anymore, Mr. Dickinson said, except when it is. Yes, except when it is. You said that shit sitting on your couch, didn't you, nigga? They're like, why is this connection so bad? Nigga, are you using Boost? The market is prone to fits of insanity, right? Fits of sanity, actually. Last year, Nike made Colin Kaepernick the face of his Just Do It 30th anniversary campaign. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything, the ad read. Mr. Kaepernick, the former NFL quarterback who became a social justice icon for kneeling during a national anthem to protest police brutality, was a risky choice. Some customers called for a boycott and burned their shoes. Mr. Trump went after the company on Twitter, writing, "What was Nike thinking?" In the days after Nike revealed its partnership with Mr. Kaepernick, the stock fell, losing $3.3 billion in market value. For a moment, it looked like Nike had made a real sacrifice, putting its values on the line and paying for it with real money. Yet after the initial furor died down, the stock rebounded. Online sales at Nike jumped 31% in the days after Kaepernick ad debuted. Analysts upgraded the stock which reached new highs. It turned out Nike hadn't sacrificed anything. One of the great marketers of the last 50 years, the company clearly knew what it was doing. Signing Mr. Kaepernick was a marketing tactic. In the years since, it has done virtually nothing more with the star. Like, yeah, all right, you served your purpose. Kick rocks, nigga. There's a great risk of this type of language being employed in a cynical and opportunistic way, Mr. Dickinson said. I worry that these displays of conviction might actually be a lack of conviction, that it's actually just based on market analytics. Sometimes efforts to support a higher purpose fail doubly, coming off as both opportunistic and ham-handed. Johnson & Johnson introduced a Listerine mouthwash bottle sheathed in a rainbow flag to celebrate gay pride, drawing ridicule from the LGBT community. Starbucks has clumsily waded into race relations more than once. Mr. McDonald's turns its Golden Arches logo upside down for International Women's Day last year in honor of extraordinary accomplishments of women everywhere, and especially in our restaurants. Yo, look, the only reason McDonald's has any customers is because fucking they're single moms who don't want to cook. Don't get anything misunderstood. Like, all these massive ass fucking conglomerates like Walmart and McDonald's would not exist without single moms. Do not get anything misunderstood about that. Like, they grow as the single mom rate grows. Like, that's some real shit. Online critics pounce, saying that the fast food chain valued women so much it would give them better pay and benefits. Get woke, go broke. All these companies finding their woke values is not a function of their principles, Mr. Galloway say. It's a function of shareholder value. And then there are all the companies that have decided that it's better to say nothing at all. Blackstone, the private equity firm, did not sign on the Business Roundtable agreement. Indra Nooyi, the former chief executive of PepsiCo, said she was willing to engage in third rail debates only if they were relevant to the company's broader mission. Not all companies need to speak up about everything, she said. If the lofty rhetoric is not linked inextricably to the core business, you should question it. Yo, man, bro, it's fucking speaking truth. And Visa, and the credit card processor, has assiduously stayed out of the social debates rolling business world. Our job is not to be dividing the country, Al Kelly, Visa's chief executive, said recently in an interview. Our job is not to lecture people about what to do or what to buy. And the moment you give on guns, and what about soda? What about fur coats? What about birth control pills? What about? There you go. Mr. Crowley has reason to be worried. After all, when CEOs do push for real meaningful change, the judgment can be swift and harsh. In 2015, David Crane was chief executive of NRG, one of the country's largest power producers and one of the largest polluters. Mr. Crane believed that NRG had a moral and business imperative to transition to renewable sources of power generation. His vision for a clean energy company made Mr. Crane the talk of the industry and animated idealistic employees. But when Mr. Crane asked the board to endorse a plan for NRG to be carbon neutral by 2040, they balked. One member took him aside and said, "Are you crazy? You can't say that." Right? The director was right. When it became clear to investors Mr. Crane was serious about his plan, NRG stock started to fall and Mr. Crane got fired. Get woke, go broke, son. In the end, it didn't matter that Mr. Crane believed he was on the right side of history or that his staff was behind him. The fact that employees liked it was overwhelmed by the fact that the board didn't like it and investors didn't care, he said. Mr. Crane, though, may have simply been ahead of his time. Since he lost his job, the cost of renewable energy has continued to decline, and several large utilities have pledged to become carbon neutral. Mr. Dickinson can relate. For all his efforts building Etsy's culture and advancing environmental causes, his investors just weren't that interested. At the end of the day, it's still mostly about stock price. If you're a public company CEO, Mr. Dickinson said, when rubber meets the road and you're sitting in a room with investors, they're looking at spreadsheets and asking you what the numbers are going to be like. It's a lesson that many startups are just starting to learn. WeWork, Uber, Lyft, Spotify, Snap, and Dropbox all had high hopes of becoming public market darlings. Instead, they become dogs. To some, the weak public appetite for idealistic money-losing companies is a failure of imagination. Even on his way out, Mr. Newman, who would keep a position as a non-executive chairman, said his belief in the transformative power of WeWork had never been more intense. That's why you're on your way out, nigga. We have an opportunity to expand our global business, to do more people than ever before. I have never believed in our business, our people, and our future more. For others, however, the tepid response from public investors is a refreshing sign of good judgment. The market is prone to fits of sanity, Mr. Galloway said. We're having that right now. Yo. Yo, get woke, go broke, motherfuckers. It's Tom P's and Pnoid News. You know the situation. Yo, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that motherfucking notification bell. Yo, donate to the damn Patreon. Yo, get more videos. All right, peace.